to America, and we were training with all the white belts and whoever was. I was the higher rank to America. So then I start training, and we went to compete at the Brazilian Championships in Rio, and that was my first time that I actually want to train with people who actually train jiu-jitsu from Rio, from the source. And I wasn't aware what I did was actually I don't even knew the rules. I only had the passion for it, and I liked the idea of the stuff. I followed like Royce Gracie in the UFC and all that stuff. So I went to compete at the Brazilian Championships, and then I lost my first fight. On Monday before I come back, I wanted to train to kind of suck as much as many information as possible so I can practice. It's not something that I could go to Rio again. Maybe next year if I'm lucky,
Yeah.
So I went to train that, and then Carlos Gracie was watching the train. So I said, man, I'm gonna do my best. I did my best on training. As soon as he finished the training, he called me and said, hey, champ, how's it going? What's your name? I said, my name is Braulio. I said, where are you from? I'm from Recife. He goes, bro, listen, there's something about you. Don't stop training. When you go back home, choose your friendships. Look at the connection what my dad said to me too. See, he goes choose well your friendships. Don't go on the bloody gangs, or don't get into the drinking, drugs, and all those kind of crew, because it's just gonna take you out of path. Focus on jiu-jitsu, and there'll be something about you. Like 25 years later, I'm the head professor of the Gracie Barra Global. That's crazy this season. Like, it's just
he's a
incredible.
psychic, huh? He's psychic, bro. How's that?
He's a visionary. Visionary. And I've always, Master Carlos, he's definitely, he's a different kind of person, right? He's very interesting. And if you sit down, I never took for granted any minute, every minute for him. I never took for granted, right? Because I know how much impact he has caused on my life, and on help myself to do the right choices towards my life too, to be where I am, right? And I'm seeing every time that I sit down with him, I never took for granted. And a lot of people, when you're there, you make the most of the jokes. He does a lot of metaphors, right? And I get very excited with metaphors, because it's a way that I like to explain myself too and understand things. And sometimes the metaphors are funny, but people end up laughing. Not everyone. People from who is not connected, right? They are, why is talking about whatever, because the metaphor he uses, whatever happens on the day. He happens in the day, and he explains whatever he wants to pass the concept for whatever, to show that things happens over and over, the same thing. It's just the concept is the same.
Yeah.
Bro, I just look. People laugh. I say, I don't know why people laugh. I'm just taking everything. So he's being very special, and very enriching. If you sit down with him, with the idea, with the mindset to go and learn something, you come back with a lot of things to work on.
Okay. So my follow-up question then, Braulio, you spoke about, before we started talking about Carlos Gracie Jr., is how in jiu-jitsu, you don't go to training to beat John, you go to training to get better. That's the way to improve, and that's the mentality to take to training. But at the same time, a huge moment for you in your competition trajectory, one of the defining points, and something you still get emotional about, right, is this encouragement from Carlos Gracie Jr. So, man, I hope it doesn't sound like a rude or silly question, but what do you say to students who they don't necessarily have those opportunities to meet someone like Carlos Gracie Jr.? How do you cultivate the mentality you spoke about, but without necessarily having someone that they get a one-on-one interaction with, which is like a bomb behind them?
I become the hub. I'm the hub. I have the knowledge and the experience on what touched me, and I touched so many people in my generation. And I know what was the main thing that actually touched it. And then I pass it on because I start recognizing, I learn to see those aspects too. I learn because I search. In life, if you search, you find. So I learn how to see those spots, and then I take as the same. It's not going to be, of course, like Carlos Gracie sees is one thing, but look how amazing the Gracie Barra is around the world. I have students that are so successful, passing so many good messages. The academy is packed and making a completely positive impact on the area that they at. And they never met Carlos Gracie Jr., but through the methodology, and through the connection, the lineage, they keeping the legacy alive. They pass it on and they're motivating the same way, And I think the only thing that you can do, okay, if I believe that in life, also, Master Carlos always says that, you got to focus on the positive. What does it mean? Focus on the positive. Whatever is out of your control is, come on. What can you? If it's out of control, it's out of your control. You can only do something about what is on your control, right? You guys are there on the lockdown. What do? You need to take the most of it. What can you do and what can't you do? So focus on what you can do. This is positive, right? And I have this mentality throughout everywhere in my life, in fighting, during jiu-jitsu, when I'm fighting in jiu-jitsu against someone, when I'm dealing with my problems, when I am making my business, when I'm hanging out with my family, when I cannot hang out with my family, that's the same mentality. Focus on the positive and focus what you got, instead being complaining for not having what you want. So what I do is I get all the lessons that I have learned. I try to pass it on. And one thing that Carlos always said was, Braulio, first you need to make a success story. Then after, when you make your own success story, you need to help someone to make a success story. And then after that, you need to help someone to make a success story. So that's the mentality. I'm doing my best to pass it on through my experience that I learned and try to pass it on the concept to inspire them to say it's possible. Because if it happened to me when I came, that kid from from white belt, that there was no black belts around my city, 3 hours away from airplane, from Rio, and come back, make where I am right now. So I know that it's possible because I did. And I know why it's possible, because I did many different ways, and I know which one was what made it possible. And that's how I try to inspire them using this, and one day I can say, listen, this Carlinhos told me that, this is, and it worked. So it proved the point,
You can say it with great conviction because you got to live it. You've done it, tested it out.
Exactly. And what I'm trying to do, which is my main goal now as a head professor of the Gracie Bar, guys, I can explain anything in life using jiu-jitsu as a metaphor, right? And then when you understand those correlations, you lead to the concept.
Yes.
Example. Never cry over the spilled milk. We hear that all the time, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
What does it mean? What's past is past. Focus what is next. Example, the guy made a grip to make the collar choke. He already did it. It's there. It's over. You don't want to fight against what is already there. Don't fight over the spilled milk. It's already that tight on your neck. What's next is the other hand. Don't let the other hand go. If the other hand don't go, there's no choke. So that mentality goes through. So this is one concept. That's one mindset mentality. That's so many other ways that I can explain, which leads to explain them, to motivate them. So if they don't meet Carlos Gracie Jr., I can show in jiu-jitsu when I train, when they achieve a technique, when they achieve a submission, when they achieve a hold, or when they escape from a very tough position, by understanding the reason why, they figured out the concept that Carlos Gracie has taught through life and through to be a champion or to be a successful parent. Is the same.
Yes. Okay. I want to keep talking about. I don't know if you get it, but it makes sense to me. Maybe I'm crazy too. I want to ask. I want to talk more about your competitions, but first, you've used the word metaphor, I think maybe 4 times in the past few minutes, and I know the way you talk about learning jiu-jitsu, understanding jiu-jitsu, you really value metaphors. So I wanted to ask you, maybe first I'll just ask you, why do you think metaphors are so important for understanding jiu-jitsu, especially when there's guys like John Danaher, who's very popular at the moment now, but his method of explanation is Look, maybe a little bit metaphor, but he's also just very methodical, and I think that's why people like him. So why do you think
Mm.
things like metaphor are a powerful tool for understanding jiu-jitsu?
Look, when metaphors is the best way to get someone to understand, someone that doesn't do jiu-jitsu well or don't know long or don't understand your mindset or don't, it's not as developed in jiu-jitsu as you, to understand what you come across, what you want to come across.
Mm.
It is because what's a metaphor? Metaphor is a different way, a different scenario explaining the same thing, right? So if I can explain anything with an example that's completely different but make you understand, is the concept. You understand the concept. The
Yes.
metaphor will help you to understand the reason why of what I'm trying to explain you, and then you understand the concept. Because if I show the if I tell you like the same example, don't, it's no point to cry over the spilled milk. So what does it mean? Whatever passed, whatever is gone is gone. Focus on what's next. The guy make you a collar choke. The first one gone, it's gone. Focus what's coming next. Don't let it get worse. If you focus what has already happened, you not make nothing to stop the consequence, the
Yes.
progress.
Yes.
And this is the concept. I explain you through the saying and through jiu-jitsu. And there's many other ways
Mm.
to do
Mm.
that. For example, if you cannot end, if to end a marathon, you need to do the first step first.
Yes.
It's the same thing.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
absolutely.
And then it's the same thing. If it's something never happened, we'll never complete.
Mm.
If it never start, it never finish.
Mm.
You know.
Mm.
So and then you go reverse engineering, and then I do a lot of metaphor for head of the snake, right? If I'm here, if I hold your wrist, okay, let me show you what I would do to escape this hold. I would go escaped. I tried to hold. What made me escape? What did I do that made me escape? I turned my wrist.
Mm.
So I did the first thing, right?
Mm.
If that first thing never had been done, I would never be able to escape. So instead of hold the wrist, why not hold the hand? I go, first thing don't exist. The problem never there.
Yes.
Metaphorically and explain for is everything. That
Yes.
kind of stuff.
Yes. Man, brilliant. These are the questions I most wanted to ask you. I thought we wouldn't get to it till later into the interview. One more before maybe I ask you some questions about your competition, in particular hunting down Ronaldo Souza. We'll talk about that soon. But I wanted to ask too. One of my favorite quotes from listening to you talk is that you described a technique not as like something you learn and do. A technique is just a vehicle to make a particular concept work. Can you describe to us what you mean by that?
Exactly. So, an example for you to understand. The way that I see in jiu-jitsu, I don't necessarily focus only on the how to be done.
Mm.
Okay? Kimura, omoplata. Two completely different techniques, completely opposite. One I use hands, the other one I use legs. But whatever happens to my opponent, it's exactly the same. Nothing changed, bro. It's the same.
Yes. Yes.
So, okay, omoplata is a technique, but the concept is I'm bending the guy's arm, put the hand behind his arm, and then twist into the way that he's gonna create a lock, a tension, go beyond the tension, right? The Kimura, the same. If you go heel hook, estima lock, and toe hold, it's the same thing done differently. So the technique is different ways of doing the same thing, which is the concept. So the concept's here. These links to the concept, these links to the concept, but these doesn't necessarily link to each other. And I can get many of them that goes to here. And the more you understand the reason why this makes the concept so good, I can adjust to go that better, to adjust to get the better. Maybe by understanding the Kimura better, you make your omoplatas even better.
Yes. Yes.
That's kind of what you need to. I like to see sometimes what is happening to the opponent, not what I'm doing. If I kind of imagine now a guy facing down, yeah, on the knees, but with the head looking down, having a kimura and take the guy who did the kimura out from it. Now, put the same guy doing a normal plato and take the guy from it doing the same. It's the same thing is happening to him.
Yeah.
And that's how I try to adjust my omoplata, because if I was doing a kimura, I would aim his hand a little bit closer to the, I would hold the hip. So I'll try to do the same with different parts of my body to tighten up even more the dots and become even better and understand even more concepts of hold, of more concepts of control, how to manipulate my opponent's body to get to the end. And that's why it takes time. But if you look for it, if you search for it, you will find. That's the bottom line. And frustration, very important to have. If you're not frustrated, that means you don't care. You have to go through frustration. You have to. It's like the caterpillar to come out of the cast to be able to fly. You know, that the metamorphosis. If you help the caterpillar to break the cast, it will be an easy prey because there will be no blood pumped to the wings to fly away, right? So they need to kind of go through it. You need to develop. You need to kind of. It's not easy. It's like a kid. Look, before walking, they need to struggle to crawl, and you need to go through. They get pissed off, but then and then you build the muscle to it. It's part of it. But this is life.
Yes.
Another metaphor for life.
Man, that's it. Rich with metaphors. See, jiu-jitsu guys can be intellectuals, Professor. Alrighty. Maybe before I lied, I said I'd ask only 2 questions and we'd start talking about competition. But I have one more. Okay, one more about techniques and things because I love this. For some people, they come to jiu-jitsu. Well, no, I think for almost everyone who comes to jiu-jitsu, it's an immensely conceptually difficult martial art. There's so much to learn. There's so much just to understand in the first instance, let alone to be able to develop a way of thinking about it like you do, like trying to break it down into metaphors to tie techniques together. What advice would you give to a student to kind of help themselves move beyond just I go to class and I copy a technique and try to flex the muscle that's going to help them understand jiu-jitsu on a higher level?
Yeah. Look, when I started jiu-jitsu, I didn't think the way that I think now about it. Jiu-jitsu, I didn't think about the way that I think about life, the metaphors, the concepts. I didn't.
Yes.
Okay. When I was a black belt world champion in 2004, in my first year as a black belt, I didn't think that way neither. I didn't. I got 3 times world champion, and I didn't think that way. I am here now. One of my goals is to kind of give you guys the hints to every time that I go. Again, look, I try to make the most of it, right? So I have the knowledge that I created. It's like I went to the mountain, I meditated in the mountain, and I came back down and then pass it on the knowledge and and you don't need to go to the bloody mountain to do it. That's what I'm trying to kind of say, you know? So I know what made me understand that way. So every time that I teach, every time that I show or talk about, I throw seeds to help you guys get earlier than I did. And I see the impact that causes on my students. So it helps. But what when Carlos Gracie Jr., Master Carlos Gracie Sr. said, like, there's no losing, it's either you win or you learn, is correct. You know, my first 2 fight competitions, the first 3 years on the IBJJF, I lost in the first fight. You know, so it doesn't mean that I wasn't learning. I learned every time I learned something new. I said, man, I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't do that. Oh, I made a mistake here. And carry on. Right? So what I like to tell you guys here is that when you first learn, you need to know how to walk before you run, right? If you don't know how to walk, you cannot run. So first you need to know what's the points, what's the rules, what do I supposed to do? Now I'm gonna explain that with metaphors. Can I?
Yeah, please. Look
at that. I found it incredibly hard my first 3 months in jiu-jitsu. Incredibly hard. Because all I did was getting battered. And I didn't know what I was fighting for. Right? I carried on because I was like, I didn't want to get bullied in school. I didn't want to be the quitter, because I have this mentality. But some people don't have the mentality to want to go through those things.
Mm.
It doesn't mean that they're bad or good. It's just that we are all different, right? And I find that back in the day, only people who wants to be champions that was reaping the benefits of the jiu-jitsu when there is so much benefits for everyone, as you know, and as you guys in Australia know, as my students know. Now, before I used to go to when I was to go train, it's like being put in a cage full of sharks and survive you out, right?
Yeah.
That's how it used to be, and it was tough, and not necessarily very appealing. And a lot of my friends that could be really good because they're so smart, they're so talented, but they didn't want to be in the environment. Now, explanation. First thing we need to do is step at a time. I will do an example. Every time when you do a beginning on the GB1, when you do a specific training of whatever you're doing, that's the beginning that you should do. Okay, because like when you go with training guard, open guard. Okay, so if I show you, if I tell you, if John came to train for the first time, John, have you ever trained jiu-jitsu? No. Okay, so what you're going to do, you're going to spar with blue belt Peter, and 5 minutes. Go. John gonna go, right? Or you can do even better. You can spend half an hour with John, explaining him on how to open a guard for half an hour. Then, okay, John, now you go train with Peter. And then Peter goes and take him down. And then he's on the bottom. What John gonna do? He doesn't know what to do because he only knew the other side. So imagine a big bay, right? And then has a big bay, there's a light on the left, there's a reef hidden on the right, and then there's some sharks behind the net, and then you go and drop the guy, find a way. What do I do?
Yeah.
He doesn't know where to go. But if I spend half an hour telling him, listen, there is a shark behind the net, so don't go to the north. You see the light? That's what you need to focus on. You get this board, has a board for you, swim to the reef, and you'll be safe. You ready? Look, go. Where are the lights? Okay, okay, cool. You do a few times. Then I go, okay, now take the board. I will drop you here and then figure it out. Oh, figure out. No board. I can swim. Where's the light? There. Where's the reef? Here. I know where it is. Boom. Safe. You keep doing that. Then we'll be windy days. Then will be a little bit of current. But you know where to go. So there, it gives you a clear understanding on what I'm fighting for. It is John should be putting Peter on his guard and then try to open from there. One specific. He's not going to be worried about back attack. He's not going to be worried about mount escape. He's not going to be worried about sweeping anyone. He's worried about practicing exactly what we did there. And that is one tick. And then next week, there'll be the another week. And then tick. By the time you do the GB1 course, you're already been 16 weeks in many different areas, knowing more or less what to do. And it's more clear, and that is all about putting yourself in the situations. Some people will learn more some areas than others, but it's all about trying to get yourself a little bit more clearer vision on what to do. And the more you do, start recognizing the whys. Why? But ask yourself, ask your professor. And honestly, guys, the best thing and the most faster way that I learned, and the majority of the time that I learned in my career, wasn't asking my professors. It was sharing. It was sharing with my own teammates, even though I wasn't perfect or a specialist on the thing that I was sharing, but it made me be inquisitive, made me be intrigued by, the guy asked me a question, I don't know the answer, I don't know, but I try to find, and then therefore I teach myself how on the mechanics as well. Braulio, you do this to me. How do you do that? I said, did I do that? I don't even remember doing that. I just sound so natural. And then I go, oh, it must be because of that. And you go, oh, man, that's why it works. And then you go, man, I can add this on the other thing. Guys, sharing is another concept for life. Sharing is caring. The more you share, the more you improve, the more people around you improve, the more people appreciate yourself. And appreciating and giving back are two important things for any kind of relationship. Training partners, professors, students, mother, son, parents, and friends, partners. It doesn't matter, workplace. If you appreciate each other and you give back, and you are willing to give back to each other, the relationship flourish and everyone wins and everyone grows. That's how I improve. How can I explain me and Roger living 2.5 hours apart from each other here in England? We came as a brown belt, and then we became who we became, training with our students. That's the only one option, is by sharing. We had to teach every day. We had to find a way to teach jiu-jitsu. And if you teach with honesty, with passion, if with the willpower of making the most of that class to cause a positive impact on everyone, to make them teach everything without hiding, you will see how much improve. You know, look how passionate I am. Look, I'm making I want to be here. Do you get it? I want to make the most of everything. If you have that mentality, your jiu-jitsu goes like that.
Yes. Yes. Wow, man, I almost forgot what I was going to ask you next. I got so caught up. Hey, you're okay. You're okay. This is why we wanted you to come on. All right, I could talk about thinking about jiu-jitsu forever. I'm sure I bore some of the students at the gym I coach at doing that. So maybe let's start talking a little bit about your personal history, your personal story with jiu-jitsu. I know maybe one that is maybe even close to your own heart, but I think makes for a great story is your kind of relationship with Ronaldo Souza at competition. And in my head, it's kind of like you were hunting him down to find a way to meet him again on the mats and get a victory back. I know I'm setting you up for maybe a long story here, but I think if you could tell that for us would be fantastic.
Yeah. No, so basically, I didn't hunt Jacare to beat him. It was not only for that reason. It's more to prove myself that I was actually valid my titles, you know, because when I beat Jacare, when I had fought Jacare 5 times up until the last one, right? The first 4 fights I got tapped, points, right? So lost 4. I don't even scored a point on him. Every bloody scoreboard was only his moving. Mine was stuck. They put some super glue there. You know, so the situation with him was I knew that I have the option to beat him, but I couldn't put in practice. I felt him much stronger than me. He was much more well developed than me. You know, you can see he already from brown belt weight and absolute champion. He went to the black belt weight and absolute champion. It's like always there, no? To fight in absolute black belt, you gotta be a man. You cannot be a boy, you know. And when you're a brown belt, come now brown belt, 19 years old, and 20, and you go boom, you gotta be solid. And he was really solid, as we all know. Now, when I didn't manage to beat him, what got me was Roger fought against him in 2004, and he broke his arm on the final of the absolute. So I became the champion because we didn't fight, right?
Yes.
So that is in the back of my mind. But what if? Okay, I'm Dutch, but what if? Then he. The next time I competed, he wasn't in the category, and I was a world champion. I fought the final, and he wasn't there. I said, "But what if?"
Yeah, that's it.
And in 2009, 2011, I won again. 2010, I won again, and then he wasn't there. But then on 2009, and then because he was focused more on no-gi. And then ADCC, I think like the everything happens for a reason somehow. I won in 2009. I was supposed to fight the ADCC, right?
Mm.
And then
Mm.
Roger was going to fight a super fight against Drysdale, which beat Marcelo Garcia previous event. So how does it work ADCC? ADCC is like that. The absolute champion fights against the super fight champion 2 years later. So and then we have 2 years later we will have an absolute champion and another super fight champion that will fight 2 years later, on and on and on. So I never expect I was going to fight to win the absolute in 2009. I was going to fight, but I was only focused on my main weight division. Focus on what I can control. It's my weight division. I don't even knew I was going to fight the absolute because you got to be picked, which
Yes.
was a tough time to get picked. I'll tell you later. Then on the first training camp for the ADCC, I was training with Roger. He got injured. I went to the single leg. He sprawled. He twisted his knee, which was already been injured before. So he pulled out of ADCC against Drysdale. Guess who jumps in? Jacare to fight Drysdale. I said, no way.
Yeah.
On my mind was, imagine, because I knew it was most likely Jacare was going to beat Drysdale, but on my mind was, imagine if I win the absolute, man. But no, come on now. You really? No, whatever. Let's focus on the mission. Boom, boom, boom. Go there, and I won the absolute.
Yes. That was 2009,
beat,
is that right, Professor?
2009.
Yeah,
and
big
he
year,
beat,
yeah.
And then he beat Drysdale. I go, it's happening. This is my chance to prove myself that I can do it. 6 months later, 1 year later, 8 months later, I fell my head on doing MMA, and I got tetraplegic for a while, and I had to do surgeries on my neck. I went to 3 or 4 surgeons. They said, no, you can't go back in competition after the surgery because it's 2 discs. 1 disc will be okay. There's many people who comes back with 1 disc, but the problem is 2 discs would force a lot of pressure on the bottom and top disc. When it happened, man, when I hit the floor, the first thing that came to my mind is, oh my God, I'm paralyzed. And it came to my mind, I cannot pick up my kids. I cannot believe this happened to me. Oh my God, my kids and the jiu-jitsu, Jacare, the fight that I was waiting for. I cannot. Oh my God. And I was, no, man, this cannot happen. I was trying to search, come back. I went to a best doctor in London in December, and then he said that he put a rugby player back to the main league. I said, man, I like you, man. I like it. And then he goes, okay, so let's do it. Okay, cool. So how long do I need to recover? He goes, look, you need to spend 4 months doing nothing. You can only recover 4 months. After 4 months, and then you can start to back yourself up. I had 8 months for the fight from the surgery. So basically, it was 4 months without recover from my neck. Then I had 4 months to recover from my injury, from the surgery, and to beat a guy that I know even scored 1 point on him. And that was my challenge, But man, every day and night I was thinking about that fight. I was thinking about that statical way. It's my time. I want to prove to myself that it's possible. And even though with the big step back about it, not many people knew at the time. I was fighting at home, like in Nottingham, 2,000 people, expecting seeing the Braulio from 2009, but not many people knew about my injury. And I didn't let that thing go. And I think my mindset was so strong that I couldn't see other option than just the victory. And 30 minutes of of fighting, man, and I beat him in the end. It was like the biggest achievement that I ever had to my personal achievement. Not because I beat Jacare, but because I went against the adversities. And then I've proved once again, if you really have a good mindset and you go for it, do what it takes, you can do whatever, anything in life, man.
I thank you for telling that story for us all, especially to condense it down. I think it ties in so well with what you're saying at the beginning of our chat, man. Jiu-jitsu is about trying to better yourself. Even though Jacare is the prize, you only got there by focusing on yourself. I want to ask, any big injury, whether or not you're going to fight someone like Jacare at the end, any big injury requires a real tough mentality, I think, to push through something like that, something like your spine. Do you think the the I don't know, the drive you had to get through it, to do everything properly, to build yourself up, was because of what was at the end, or because of all of the jiu-jitsu and experiences you've had before, or because of something that happened while you're going through it?
But everything is it's a step at a time.
Mm,
You know, if I never had injuries before that I overcame, I would never had even tried to fight. Everything is not reckless. I'm not stupid. Come on, I'm not gonna put my health or my life in risk for for a stupid ego thing to beat someone or to be a champion. You know, I have a family,
mm,
but it's the self belief and the faith that it's going to they are made, and also the single body, right? First time I injured myself, my right knee, I hurt my knee. My first injury was a blue belt, and I remember that I couldn't lift my foot out of the floor. I said, "It's over. My career is over. It's
mm.
over. If I cannot lift my foot out of the floor, how the hell am I gonna sweep someone? It's impossible. My career is over. Oh my god! Oh my god! It's over. It's over." And then 1 month later, I was competing. Oh, okay. So it wasn't that bad. Then you start recognizing, you know, Ronaldo, not Jacare,
Mm,
another Ronaldo, the
mm.
footballer,
Yes.
was a very important inspiration for me for the injury, because I remember when he had an injury on his knee, and he did a surgery 4 months before the World Cup. He came back to the World Cup and became the 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 top scorer and the best player of the whole World Championship in the football. So if he can make, why can't I? You know,
Mm,
that's how, I like to share that,
mm.
because I want people to see me like I saw Ronaldo and say, listen, if he can make, why can't I? Right? And that comes down to be responsible, to do what it takes, find the right people to do so. That's why I didn't. Yeah, there you go. So, the Star everyone said is the best striker of all time. He's a tough guy, very good, and he's not like Neymar falling. Oh my God, he goes through like a church. That's why I like him. So the um, so you need to find the right people. That's why I didn't do the surgery with the first 3 or 4 doctors on my neck. I had to go. I had to get the confidence, right? You need to. But when I understood that I also later I did a surgery on my knee 4 months of before the tournament,
Mm.
the worlds, and I went. I didn't win, but I got second, right? But my foot, I couldn't touch my heel on my butt. That's how bad was my knee still, right? And I still go there and compete. So, and then I hurt my shoulder, and then I improved. I came back from it, and I still come back compensating. And I think my injuries helped me to develop weapons that I could put together in my arsenal, that when one is not firing, I can fire the other one instead. And I could compensate in a good level over well-rounded, you
Mm.
know? And that's what I think the belief, doing the right thing with the safety, right? And I understood that my neck wasn't in danger when I with the surgery, because it couldn't be. I could injure the top and bottom disc, that was fine,
Mm.
which by the way it is injured now. But not because of that fight, but because I carry on competing, train.
Yes.
But you know what I'm saying? Like it was safety, but it's all about it was a build up from all the experiences that I've been through in jiu-jitsu, and come back and proving myself that actually, listen, how amazing the human body is.
Mm.
If you eat the right thing, if you do the right exercises, if you have the right mentality as well. Mentality is so important. I never had strong mentality, by the way. That was took me a while of focusing on the positive. See again,
Mm.
focus on the positive. Focus on what you can control. Try to make the most of what you have.
Mm.
It's the same over and over again. And that's what made me focus on the positives, like the half full cup, not the half empty cup, you know?
Yes. Yes. Okay. I have another question then. I think maybe there's an opportunity here for you to give some fantastic advice for probably lots of students. Um, you spoke a lot about belief and mentality, and I know that for students probably who they came to jiu-jitsu a little bit later in life, or they had a big injury get in the way, or I'm lucky. I don't have another job and a wife and kids that I have to manage as well. I just do jiu-jitsu. But with these obstacles
That's
in the
why you don't have
way,
wrinkles.
yes, bro. And sunscreen, Professor. Sunscreen's important, man. But um, for for people in these situations where they feel like, man, how do I just keep pushing through all these different obstacles that are in my way to get to the black belt and to be a black belt where I feel like I deserve to be a black belt? What would you say to them? How do they cultivate that mentality?
Look, one of the main lessons I had, I don't know if it's going to relate, but this is for sure is going to correct with the black belt thing, because just if I understood.
Mm, mm.
First lesson that I had that taught me a lot about expectations, right? My expectations, as I learned a lot. I try to, everything that happened in my life, right? I've always tried to, things that worked, I try to take things that didn't work, I try to learn from it, and things that I expected too much and didn't work. Dude, expectations is a very big setup for disappointment, right?
Yes.
And it
Yes.
can put you down. So I remember first day, that's the first workshop. I was white belt, 10 months in a white belt. I was already doing well in my academy. I was kind of feeling that I was the best white belt in the academy. And that was this workshop. Back in the day, we didn't have belts available. I was so sure on this workshop I was going to get the blue belt that I called and I delivered one from Rio, and I got a blue belt, and I brought the blue belt with me in the bag. Hey, I go to the workshop. Hey, today I'm gonna get my blue belt. Didn't tell nobody, just for myself. But the blue belt is there. La la la. Go to the seminar. I don't even know what it was taught because I wasn't thinking about it. All I was thinking about is the end of the seminar to get my blue belt. Blah blah blah. Finish the workshop. No belts to nobody. I pass in front of my coach a few times to say, hey, how you doing? Just to see if he know I was there. He goes, hey, bro, how you doing? Okay, I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, cool. Damn, he knew I was here. Man, I go back home. For the first time since I started, I never stopped training jiu-jitsu. Every day. I was training every day, Monday to Friday, since I started, because I got addicted. And then it was the first time I went home, went to the shower, I was crying, got angry, I hit the wall. I hate this. Come on, I'm a blue belt. How he cannot see? What else do I need to do? What else? Come on. And I didn't go train for 3 days. Next day I didn't go train. The following day, the third day I said, okay, I miss training. I miss training, but I don't want that feeling again. So I made a deal with myself. Okay, we go training, but from now on, I'm not gonna expect no belt. And I'm gonna go there to become as good as I can be. And if he gives the belt, good. If he does, I don't care. I will do. All I want is to be as good as I can be. That was the first lesson. And then, since then, time flies. Black belt 4 degrees and like that. And then one thing is for sure, it was more enjoyable every day for me because I wasn't expecting anymore. Is that more or less the question?
Yeah, I think, man, I think you've answered my question for sure, and you've given some terrific advice. I think expectations is, man, something you have to manage in jiu-jitsu, in your jiu-jitsu journey.
But when people has difficulties, right?
Yes.
With wives and they have limited, listen, you don't need to train every day, twice a day to be a black belt, to learn jiu-jitsu in a black belt.
You don't need to be Jacare Souza to be a black belt either.
No, you don't. And to be honest, jiu-jitsu is much more than that. You can help someone that Jacare will never know, or the person will never know Jacare, but you can help the person through your environment on how to make the person, to inspire them through jiu-jitsu. They make an amazing impact that they will be grateful for the rest of their lives for you. And this is more price. This is priceless for me, right? So, but the thing is, you cannot expect things to come if you don't do no effort neither. right? You cannot not train and receive the black belt. Okay, it
For
has
sure.
everything is about the balance. Everything is about the balance. Even though, man, politics, dude, like extreme left, extreme right, dude, it's a balance, a little bit of everything. Is in jiu-jitsu, it's about everything. If you could get everyone united and everyone understand a little bit left and right, a little bit left and right, it's the balance. Everything's a balance.
Mm.
If you want to go and eat a lot, train a lot, and compensate the amount of intakes you take. If you burn out, you will cool, right? And then if you want to lose it, it has less and you spend more. It's like currency is the same, right? So
Yes.
you cannot expect to become rich if you spend all the money that you make.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
the balance, right? It's the balance. But also, you need to accept your reality and your limitations.
Mm.
And your limitations can be physical
Mm.
and could be lifestyle too. Could be because distance of where you live, commitments, work, family. But you gotta work with what you got. You gotta focus on the positive.
Mm.
If you go and train, you can use as a release, stress release, and you go there and focus and try to become better than yesterday. It comes. Just go in and have fun. Try to search. If you search to improve, if you try to be inquisitive, try to ask questions, try to understand why things work, instead of try to copy people, try to understand, take your own conclusions, and you can make your own adjustments because jiu-jitsu is a problem solving, right? If you
Mm.
want to make a website, if you want to work as a web designer, another metaphor, see? if
Yes,
you want to work,
please,
if
please.
if you want to work as a web designer, and every job you make, you find a template, change the template and sell that, you're gonna be always limited to someone doing a template for you. But if you understand how to make one template and made yourself, and then you is endless, and the options are endless, and you can make your own style, right?
Mm.
And that's how it is. If don't try to copy, but try to take your own conclusions, because in the end of the day, when it comes down to that time to decide left or right, it's only you that could have choose.
Yes. Wow. I think you've answered the question now for sure, Professor. If you hadn't before, I think that might be a really good point to start to wrap things up. I'm loath to do it. I've enjoyed talking to you so much. A few more little things before you go, if I've got you for just a little bit longer. I know
Sure,
number
sure.
one, I had a question come through. Could you please tell quickly, and I don't know what this refers to, so I'm excited, the Andre Galvao Gracie magazine cover photo story.
Oh, that was which one? That was two. Which
Ooh.
one?
I'm
The one with
I'm
the inverted triangle?
I'm not sure. Maybe you
Okay,
either
I'm
or
gonna
your
do the
favorite. The funny one,
you
I've
mean
just been
the
told.
the funny one. I think we were laughing at each other. You know, it's because I was telling that I was looking better than him on the gi. Those jokes. Like we had the same
Yeah, yeah.
sponsors at the same time. We did a little workout. I mean, we cool. I mean, I don't have thank God I don't have much of a don't have enemies. I think like you know, it's all healthy. I like to be the goodies. I like to
Mm,
be the good guy.
yes.
Because the good always wins in the end. And I think even after when I fought in Dragão 2009, we sit down and talk, and I kind of gave him some motivation talk as well. It was pretty interesting. I remember like yesterday because he was a little bit down, you
Mm.
know, because it was like that was the inverted triangle thing, and I said, "Bro, listen, man, that's good." And then later he beat me. I shouldn't have said nothing to him. Damn it!
That's it. Hey, you influenced the wrong guy. Spread positivity, but not
No,
to
it's
your
all
opponents,
good.
huh?
I made a positive impact on him. That's
Yeah.
the thing. I just like to wherever I go, I feel like when you go with good intentions, try to make some positive
Mm.
impacts on people around you. Just so I like to. That's why I just laughed. There was no much we're just taking a make out of each other,
Mm.
and that's all the story of the Cobra.
Mm. Maybe just quickly, we didn't talk about Andre Galvao, but you fought him many times while you were competing in different
Mm.
competitions. With someone like Andre Galvao, did you ever have any heated rivalries or anything like this, or not so much?
No, no, I
No.
never. Not like angry or no, no.
Okay.
I don't like that. I don't like that in myself. But everyone is different. There are people that gets more fired up with that. I don't.
Mm.
You
Mm.
know, like McGregor loves to do the heat, right?
Yes. Oh my
Yes,
gosh.
but I don't like to be McGregor.
Yeah. No, you're a sweetheart, Professor. Not like that guy.
Yeah.
Not like
He's a good
Connor.
fighter, though. He's a good fighter, but I don't like the vibe that I don't need that kind of vibe to show because that goes against what I started jiu-jitsu, right?
Yes.
I
Correct.
started this for that kind of that was a different attraction, but still, Poirier is more my kind of stance
Mm.
point
Mm.
as ambassador as a mindset as a respectful, like tough, very good at it, but at the same time, there's no crossing line.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe I shouldn't ask this type of question, huh? What about someone like Nick Diaz? I know in the past you're gonna have jiu-jitsu
Ooh,
matches with Nick Diaz. What about
yeah,
what about
that
Nick
was that was
Diaz?
the Rufus situation that happened with me. I think I got a little bit disappointed really because um, I up until then I never had a family holiday in my life.
Mm.
Right?
Mm.
Basically, I had this holiday booked in Thailand with all my family for the first time. Very excited to go there and chill and enjoy 15 days in the resort for the first ever time in my life. And then this fight came in. Oh, do you want to fight Nick Diaz? I said, okay, cool. So when's the fight? Just after the bloody holiday.
Yeah.
So that means there's no beers. You know what I mean? And then,
Yes.
okay,
Yes.
sure, it's going to happen. Yes, okay. So I have to be on weight, have to do that. And after the holiday, I come back, stand there, the guy didn't show up.
Mm.
I
Mm.
was pissed.
Mm.
I was pissed. But that it is. And then I got also influenced by people. Bro, now is the opportunity for you to bring to the MMA and stuff. I said, yes. And I said, if I had agreed to fight him on MMA, I would never make him wait for me on the mat. I would show up. And then he took that, and well, it basically never happened
Yeah.
and never will. And no hard feelings, really. I think he had his issues with being in public as well. It was, to be honest, I don't think he realized how much of a trouble the fight would be for him. He didn't know who I was. When he found out, I think he goes, oh, man, that's, So I don't.
Mm.
I think everything happens for a reason. It
Mm.
didn't happen because he didn't supposed to, and no hard feelings. I was angry at the time. Yes, he was angry at the time. Yes, he has his social issues. That's already disclosed
Mm. Mm.
online. So he has he can get a little bit of anxiety, and there's a lot of people there. So I think probably was the right thing for him to do. To be honest.
No bad blood, but he owes you a beer, hey?
Oh, I feel.
Alrighty. Very quickly before I invite Professor Marcelo Hazenji from Gracie Barra Oceania to speak, to say some words before we go. One favor, could I ask you really quickly, Professor Braulio? It's my friend Oliver's birthday. I think he's listening. Could you just wish him a happy birthday for me?
Is he Oliver, his name?
Oliver, yes. Oliver's listening.
Hey, Oliver, my man. My son also is Oliver. So cool.
So,
beautiful. Brother, happy birthday to you, Oliver. Wish you all the best. All the side that in Australia. I think it's winter out there, right? So keep it wrapped up, and hopefully next time I'll come there. I'll give you guys a hug and all the best. Enjoy your day and get the beers from Nick Diaz. You can take over my space. Today you're allowed.
Terrific. Thank you so much. One more from myself, from Gracie Barra Carlton, from all the Gracie Barra schools around Oceania and Australia, the people who've tuned in who may not even be affiliated with Gracie Barra. Man, thank you for giving us your time, your energy. There's lots of it, and I appreciate all of it, all your answers. I know Dia was too nervous to do this himself. He's asked me to do it to say thank you, but I want to ask on behalf of Dia as well, if you're ever in Australia, man, Dia used to be an event promoter. He knows where the parties are. If you want to get a beer with Dia, just send us a message, Professor. We'll come hang out with you sometime.
Dia, next time, just after here, I'm going to speak to Professor Marcelo, when I'm visiting Australia again. So that's no question. I'm going to put him on the corner. It's like in jiu-jitsu. I already put a setup. Look, everyone wants Professor Braulio Estima back. I just want to know if it's going to be 2022. Just tell me the date.
Hey, man. Hey, we figure out the lockdowns, you're in straight away with us, bro. Thank you so much.
I'll see you next year, Diaz.
Terrific. Alrighty. Professor Marcelo, Hazenji, I'll unmute you now. I'll pop you up on the screen and maybe you can say a quick hello and goodbye for Professor Braulio. Hopefully you can
Nice
unmute
one.
yourself now. I think Professor Marcelo, you need to unmute yourself as well. Let me see here.
He's not really good with technology, you know that. He's an
Yeah.
amazing leader, but he needs someone to press the buttons on a computer phone.
Yeah, one moment. One moment. Let me see here. Technical difficulties. At least they came at the end. Yeah, we can see you, Professor, but we can't hear you.
He probably unplugged the thing. Is he wearing his
No headphones.
earphone controls? I have
sure.
time. I'm not stressed. I just want to make the chart. Just to
No
make sure
worries,
that
no
my
worries. I'm glad it's Professor Marcelo burning up your time more than me at the end here.
No, man, this is always, it's never burning my time, man.
I appreciate it.
For Jiu-Jitsu, for Gracie Barra. Like, this is our
It's
academy.
not working. Hello!
Que é isso, professor? É isso, rapaz!
Oh, good evening, everyone. For amazing interview, Professor. Oh,
Thank you, man. Thank you. I'm glad you are watching. How are you doing?
Yeah, very good. Thank you. Man, it's amazing.
It's going to be June or April, May? When?
Man, the guys decide, man. For me, I want to today to pick your brain, to spend time with you. Man, I heard one thing. Nick forgot to ask you. You taught John Donahan heel hooks, right?
I didn't know this.
You're the one, boy. You taught. I told everybody you taught the heel hooks for John Donahan.
I don't want to go them coming on my feet and try to trap me.
No, thank you so much, Professor. Thank you, Big Alto, to organize this interview. It was really good to get someone like Professor Braulio to do the interview. It's really inspiring. Thank you,
man. Thank you, Professor Braulio. Always good to see you. Energy, good energy there is full of it too. And as I was saying in the beginning, Professor, man, it's every year, man. It just keep adding my appreciation for all your hard work, man. Because I don't know if your day has as much hours as mine, because it seems like your day has a much more productive than mine. We come to so many things you do at the same time, and keeping all this team together. I know it's been tough times for you guys in Australia, but it will pass. You just need to stick together, unity together, and then helping each other, sharing to each other, and giving back to each other. That's the only way that we can go through that. And then it passes. It passes. Try to make the most of what you've got. If you can only train in the gym, in your lounge, do it. It's better than no at all. And then it's not. I don't know how is the situation, but here when there was the lockdown, I didn't know. I would rather train in the mats 110 times, but I couldn't. So what do? You gotta make the most of what you got, and this is the main thing. And then together, everyone goes through, everyone helping each other, supporting each other, talking to each other. Because those times, it's very easy to be isolated, and it's very easy to kind of lose a little bit of track. It's very easy to go unhealthy, to drink every day because the kitchen is just across the behind you on the sofa. It's very easy to go there and get it. Eat. Try to just measure, be occupied, keep your mind. Try to learn. Listen to nice, interesting podcasts. Try to go to the GB online, GB3 online. No geese, full of nice tapes on the heel hooks, and then all the heel hooks and new heel hooks that nobody knows. And that's it. And then soon, I know it's winter, it's tough now, but after the winter, the sun shines, brother.
That's it.
Thanks, Professor. Thanks, Professor Rodolfo, champion, De La Riva champion, machine. Well, he's not going to say anything, Nick.
I'm trying to find him, Professor. There's so many people watching now. It's like all these willing people. Yeah. I think I found him. Here we go. Boom.
Also, no, I just wanted to say thank you so much, Professor Braulio. I think in this moment, something that we really need is inspiration, and no one better than you to give us all this inspiration during this time. It's amazing, so inspiration to hear you talking here with Nick. We can't wait to have you here in Australia once again, and definitely we want everyone from GB Carlton and the whole GB Oceania to get to spend a bit more time with you, and capture all this beautiful energy that you have. Thank you, Professor Marcelo, as well for organizing that and helping us in the last minute.
Thank you very much, Professor Rodolfo, Professor Marcelo,
galera.
Nick. Appreciate a lot. You guys, if you need anything, I'm always here for you guys, yeah?
Hey, thank you so much, Professor.
Legend.
Enjoy the rest of your day. Guys, thank you so much for
Valeu.
tuning in. Have a lovely evening, everyone. All the best.
Valeu. Yeah.
Valeu.
Wowee. What a dude, huh? What a dude. Wow, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I think on the streams on Facebook and YouTube, there were some technical difficulties perhaps, but everyone got in here and was able to listen to the Zoom. So I hope you had a good evening. Man, I feel like I've had 5 shots of coffee. Hooly dooly. Maybe I'll go do some Baja Fit. Enjoy your weekends, my friends, and we'll have another interview coming soon. Who knows if it's going to be someone like Braulio Estima again. We'll see, huh? All the best. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you, Nick. Thanks for organizing that. It was awesome, man. Thank you for interviewing him so well. Yeah, I was excited.
My pleasure, Professor. My pleasure. Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Well done.
Thanks, Nick.
No worries.
Thanks, Nick.
Oh,
Thanks,
cheers,
Ivy.
Ricky. Thank you, Griff.
Thanks, Days. Thanks, Nick.
All
Thank
the
you.
people I recognize and the ones I do not. Thank you for coming
Thanks,
and joining
man.
us. Cheers.
Thanks, Nick.
Good night, everyone.
Oh,